Meal planning isn't just about what you eat. It's also how you eat it. When you sit down for a meal, how are you feeling? What kind of things are happening in your environment? All of that has a huge impact on your overall gut health. So today we're talking mindful eating techniques. You'll learn why it matters, how to put it into practice, and why it is a dangerously overlooked habit. If your wellness journey has you stuck in a cycle of overwhelm and inconsistency, it's time to lean in. Together, we are unlocking the confidence and clarity to make your health feel like a peaceful return home. Welcome to the Health Habit Podcast. I'm Maria, a nature-loving herbalist, science-obsessed nutrition therapy practitioner, and your guide to holistic healing. If you're ready for realistic routines that bring more presence and fulfillment into your life, then brew up some tea or crack open a kombucha and let's get into it. Did you know that your digestive system has its own unique nervous system? This is why some people call the gut the second brain. It has the enteric nervous system, its primary command center, and that allows it to actually continue performing its digestive tasks even whilst the body is doing all the other things the body is doing. And when you think about how much has truly evolved within our gut, factoring in all the microorganisms that make up your microbiome, it makes sense that it would have to have its own command center. And this makes a really big difference in how we view healthy eating. Because when we're eating, we're literally shaping this unique nervous system of the gut. And that enteric nervous system is in constant communication with the brain. So the gut will be sending signals to the brain about what's in the stomach and digestive tract, if there's any problematic pathogens and like immune issues going on, how full or stretched the digestive tract is, pain signals, all of these things. And meanwhile, the brain is signaling back and responding in a way that's going to alter the movement of the muscles throughout the digestive tract, what's getting secreted into the digestive tract, how much blood flow it's going to receive, how much immune cells is going to be sent to that area. So we're not even just eating from a nutrition standpoint. When we are eating, we are feeding this complicated neuroimmune, endocrine organ. All of these things are coming together, and there's a very complex interaction that's happening here. Now, I know that's a little bit of a sciencey background, but I can't help myself because, your girl nerds out sometimes. But the reason that this matters for healthy eating and for the way we eat is because if there is any kind of damage, if there's any kind of errors in the enteric nervous system, it's going to cause problems. And on top of it, if there's any kind of mis-signaling from our main nervous system, that is also going to cause issues. So if we are exclusively thinking about eating the right things, obviously, eating high quality food is so important and a major thing that we talk about on this podcast. But if you are only thinking about what you eat and you're not factoring in the function of your enteric, that gut nervous system, and your overall nervous system, you are missing a big part of the equation. So if you are one of those people that is eating all the right things and still having digestive symptoms, still having all of these issues, and you're like, what is going on? I'm doing everything right. This is probably the missing puzzle piece. And the solution in that case is supporting the nervous system and replenishing that, but also using mindful eating techniques. That way we are maximizing the efficiency of the digestive system. You can give yourself all the right supplements, all the gut healing protocols and herbal products in the world. But if the problem is based in the nervous system, then all of those supplements, all of those remedies are never going to truly heal. And that is why the holistic approach is absolutely crucial to long-term well-being. We need to think big picture. You need to get abstract when you're thinking about the body, because the body is so very complex. Everything is interacting with itself. So if you are failing to support the very overlooked foundations such as nervous system health, you are not going to see the maximum amount of healing, the maximum amount of efficiency within the body. Now, bringing it all together here for a moment, there are essentially two sides to the body's nervous system: the parasympathetic, or the rest and digest side, and the sympathetic, which is your fight, flight, stress side of the system. When you are eating, you want to be in this calm parasympathetic side. Using mindful eating techniques helps to bring you into this calmer side of the nervous system. Because the gut does have its own nervous system, if you are in the sympathetic side, your digestion is still going to continue, but it's going to move at a slower pace, and it will be much less efficient, more poorly coordinated. Important secretions are going to decrease. So you're going to have less digestive enzymes, which are the things that are really doing the digestive work. On top of it, you have less blood flow getting to the gut, which dramatically impairs its ability to function and to properly absorb nutrients. So overall, if we eat in this more tense sympathetic state, the chances of having digestive symptoms after a meal are much, much higher. Usually like early fullness, feeling overfull, bloated, that pain and indigestion sensation, nausea, constipation, and just changes in your overall bowel habits. All of those things are very common if we're eating in this activated state. So, what kind of mindful eating techniques help to shift you out of the sympathetic state and maximize the efficiency of your digestion, supporting the functioning of the enteric nervous system, all of this beautifully amazing stuff? First and foremost, before you even take a bite of food, pause. Assess how hungry are you. Sometimes we eat out of boredom or stress, so tuning into the body and just recognizing how you are truly feeling, the sensations that you are having, the thoughts that you're having, and then also assessing how hungry you are, if you're even hungry at all, and moving forward more intentionally. This is also a fantastic time to take a few slow, deep breaths. So before you start a meal, just 2 to 5 breaths is really all that it takes to help calm you down and shift you more into that parasympathetic, that calm side of the nervous system. Taking these extra few moments is one of the most powerful mindful eating techniques, because you actually start digesting before the food even touches your tongue. The thought, the smell, the sight of the food all jump starts the digestive process. So if we can take a few moments to tune in, kind of prepare our digestive systems, prepare our minds, just signal to the body whether or not we are truly going to eat, can help to rev that up and maximize the efficiency of your digestion. Then once you start eating, slowing down the pace of your eating by thinking about how much you are chewing. The ideal is 15 to 30 bites per chews per bite. Whichever you prefer. Bite your chews, choose your bites. Choose your bites, but literally choose each bite. Think about each bite. Think about each chew. Try to work up to 30 chews before you swallow. And while you're chewing, to help you slow down without necessarily counting every chew, you can just focus on the taste, the texture, the smell, how the rest of your food looks on your plate. Just bringing that extra intention is also going to slow down your eating pace more naturally. And about halfway through the meal, it's a very good idea to take a quick pause. reassess how hungry, how full you feel, and intentionally decide whether or not you are going to continue eating. There are certain areas in the world called blue zones. The people in these blue zones are considered centenarians, which means they live to over 100. And this specific pausing halfway is actually a very common practice in these blue zones. They use something that researchers have coined the 80% rule. So they stop eating when they're comfortably satisfied, when they're 80% full. Doing this little pause about halfway into a meal and intentionally deciding whether or not you're going to continue eating can very seamlessly work this 80% full rule into your life. And then when you're done eating, take a moment and notice how your body feels. 10 minutes after, 20 minutes after, just bring that extra awareness to how does the food feel in my body. Those 3 things, pausing before you eat, slowing down the pace of your food, pausing halfway, and trying to eat more to the satisfied 80% full range, those are incredible in themselves. But if you pair it with this post-meal check-in, you are building mind-body connection, and you are going to gear yourself towards calm eating experiences and also just more healthy eating. Because as you tune in, you'll notice when certain foods feel heavier, when certain foods make you feel tense afterwards or tired afterwards. And that awareness will naturally guide you towards the foods that make you feel light, that make you feel energized. At the Health Habit, I always say we make health feel like a peaceful return home. And these are the kind of practices that do it. This is the kind of embodiment that is woven in to wellness consistency coaching. When I work one-on-one with people, it's discovering the foundations. It's learning how to build self-trust. It's learning how to hear the signals and the guidance that your body is always trying to communicate with you. Sometimes we lose the ability to feel that guidance, but it is always there. And mindful eating techniques is just one of the many ways that we can start to welcome it back into our life. But there is one remaining mindful eating technique that is arguably even more important than all of these things. Even if you are slowing down and breathing before you eat, even if you are pausing halfway through, if you're distracted in between those little moments of mindfulness, you're not setting yourself up for success in the way that you're trying to with these mindful eating techniques. And the reason why is that when you are distracted, such as watching television or playing games, multitasking, driving, it reduces your ability to notice those hunger and fullness signals. So you tend to overeat. You tend to not really process the taste and the flavor. And it reduces that connection, your gut and your brain, that bi-directional relationship that we talked about in the very beginning of this episode. So your gut will be signaling to the brain with the enteric nervous system, but your brain's distracted. Your mind is elsewhere. It's not going to receive that input as clearly. So without even meaning to, instead of eating to that 80% full range, we'll mindless eat potentially past the fullness cues, feeling overfull afterwards. And because there is that distraction aspect, it can impair digestion a bit too. So you can end up with more digestive discomfort post-meal. So let's summarize all of the information that we have unloaded here in this episode. So your gut has its own unique nervous system that is signaling to the brain, and the brain signaling to the gut, and the gut responding as its own kind of command center, the second brain of the body. Because of this complex nervous system-based communication, it's very important that we are signaling properly using that nervous system. That way, the gut can do its job efficiently. This is going to reduce digestive discomfort. It's going to maximize the amount of nutrients that we are absorbing and then using to run our bodies. And this mind nervous system aspect of gut health can be a reason why, even when you are eating all the right things, you are still having gut related issues. So mindful eating techniques is a very important tool to maximize good signals across the nervous system and healthy digestion. We can do that in a lot of different ways, by pausing before meals, potentially taking a few deep breaths just to shift us into a calmer state, by not eating in a distracted way, sitting down and letting eating be your primary task for the entire duration of the meal, slowing down the pace of your meal by focusing on your chewing, thinking about the taste and the texture, the sight and the smells while you're eating, just really enjoying the food experience. And then pausing about halfway through the meal and assessing how full you are, how the food is feeling in your system, and intentionally deciding whether or not you're going to continue eating. Potentially stopping at that 80% full feeling rather than eating to fullness or past fullness, which is going to cause issues in itself. And then after a meal, inviting yourself to check in 10 minutes post, 20 minutes post meal, and just see how your body is feeling, how energetic you are, if you're feeling tense, if you're feeling heavy, if you're having any digestive discomfort. Just really inviting yourself to lean into that mind-body connection a little bit deeper and allow that to guide your eating. So overall, this is a huge aspect of meal planning. It's not just what are you eating, what's the recipe you're going to follow, but it's also when can you actually sit and focus on the meal, planning and allowing your food to be its entire own beautiful experience. My friends, if you have learned from this episode, if it helps you bring a more grounded and empowered feeling to food, a great way to support this podcast is leaving an honest review on Apple Podcast. It helps more people to find this message so that they can bring it into their lives and embrace more embodied wellness. And if you are feeling called to take this work even deeper, that is what I do one-on-one inside Wellness Consistency Coaching. I take concepts like this and apply it directly to your life, building you a personalized life and wellness plan. It is the absolute best part of my days. I love helping you guys achieve your goals. So if that's something that interests you, head over to thehealthhabit.net/holistic-wellness-coaching or click the link in the show notes. I'll see you all again next week for another episode of the Health Habit Podcast. And until then, I hope you get to have so many beautifully delicious meals in your life. Bye, my friends.